W420radionetwork.com.
Okay, it is time on the W420 Radio Network to get to know Miss Chaos from the Pharmaceutical Company. Now, that sounds very esoteric, but you are doing something that is not being done anyplace else?
That's so true. We are bringing the farm back into healing using cannabis and our full flower infusions.
Okay, people hear about infusions, they may shrug their shoulders, the uninitiated. What is an infusion?
Yeah, an infusion for our process is where we take outdoor organically grown flower and we combine it with heat, time, pressure, and love with olive oil. And olive oil actually pulls out the broadest spectrum of healing cannabinoids and terpenes and flavonoids, all of the things that the cannabis plant has to offer you to elevate your life, to help your body heal. That's what our infusions do.
Okay, and how does it differ from a tincture?
Well, our infusions are a tincture, but most of what's out there in tincture form is using chemicals to create an isolate or a distillate. I like to liken it to, when you go to a Friday night game, do you want to just see the star player on the field, or do you want to have the whole team? Most of the tinctures that are out there are using the isolate and distillate, just the single molecules of CBD or THC, and that's the star player. It's great, you're going to have an effect, but when you bench the rest of the team, you're missing out on the full potential of the healing or experience that the cannabis plant has for you.
Are we talking about the entourage?
The entourage effect, absolutely, yeah.
Some legacy growers up in Humboldt use that reference point.
Yeah.
Tara Carver, I think it was. You know Tara?
I do, yeah. We're also a legacy brand. We've been in this industry long before legalization, and we were one of the first 7% of all legalized businesses once California went legal.
Okay, so you have this tincture, this infusion, and you use a dropper. How is it disseminated? How is it used?
Yeah, so the intention to use them, because they're olive oil drops, is to use them under your tongue so that you get sublingually, if you will. And that way you're getting immediate access to your endocannabinoid system, which processes the THC and the CBD and other cannabinoids. But because we're doing an olive oil infusion, you can also cook with it. You can use it topically on your skin. I like to rub the tincture oil on my head when I have a migraine. There's many ways that you can use the products.
All right. How heavily THC infused is it?
Yeah, we have a full range of tinctures. So we originally started with just a CBD at an 11-to-1 ratio for our moms as an alternative to the pharmaceutical drugs that they had been prescribed that were actually making things worse for them. So we have an 11-to-1 CBD. We have a 1-to-1 paired with a sour tangy CBD. We've got a pure sour tangy, and we also have our dose drops. And the dose drops are a 1-to-2, 1 part CBD to 2 part indica flower, to help you get a good night's sleep and wake up feeling refreshed.
Mm-hmm. So botany, chemistry, art, and science all come together. And your skill set and how you came to this understanding?
Yeah, well, I have a herbalism background of my own exploration. I actually have a master's in social work. I've always had a heart for helping people heal and helping people just empower them to take healing back into their own hands. My business partner also has a background in psychology and herbalism, and when we met, both of our moms were going through this real struggle, and we were working on a CBD farm, and we knew that there could be a more natural way for them to heal, and so we set out together to create the most natural, most gentle, and most effective products that we could to help our moms. It helped our moms so well that we started getting calls from friends of friends of friends of our moms asking for the products, and when we had an opportunity to enter into the legal market, we took it.
How long ago was that?
That was 2015. We started the business about 8 months before that, although we've been in the industry well prior.
Okay, now legalization in California was implemented in 2018 recreationally, but you were under the auspices of the old medical marijuana paradigm?
Yeah, indeed, yeah.
So that opened the door for you there. And how has the legalization Prop 64 impacted you in the last 2 years?
Oh man, I tell people every morning I wake up, I feel like I get into the roller coaster cart and put the seat belt on and throw my hands up. It's like everything's constantly changing all the time. It's important to be able to pivot. I use a lot of CBD, and for us in this business, it's really like people over profits. Like, we're here to help people heal, and while the regulations may make it really difficult, the cost of compliance makes it really difficult, at the heart of it, when we get emails from folks every day telling us about how what we're making impacts and changes their lives and elevates them and allows them to have a better quality of life, like, that's what makes it worth it.
Well, that's awesome. Let's do a deeper dive into the cannabinoids in the infusion and the endocannabinoid system within the human being.
Yeah, so all mammals actually have an endocannabinoid system, and we produce naturally CBD, THC every day.
Back to the point of the cannabinoids in the infusion and the endocannabinoid system in every human being, and how the interaction impacts health or the lack thereof.
Yeah, so every mammal has an endocannabinoid system, and the whole role of that system, it's linked to every other system in our body. It's linked to our lymph system, it's linked to our brains, it's linked to our lungs and our liver. So the role of the endocannabinoid system is to help bring everything to homeostasis. So when we're dealing with toxins that are environmental or stress-related or food-related, our natural ability to help ourselves heal comes from our endocannabinoid system. And sometimes it doesn't do what we want it to because we are dealing with stress or the environmental toxins. And so using cannabis to help give your body what it naturally needs and wants to help it heal is a great way to have a better quality of life. And the tinctures that we do with the process that we're using, we're capturing all of the natural cannabinoids that are occurring in the strains. And so you're getting, our labels say you're getting CBD, you're getting THC, but you're also getting THCA, you're also getting CBN, you're also getting CBG, you're getting a piece of all of the cannabinoids that are naturally occurring in that plant.
Okay, I need a definition of those, please.
Yeah, well, so you're familiar with CBD. CBDA is the unactivated version of it. THCA is the unactivated version of THC. So it doesn't get you high, but it does have medicinal properties. And each of the cannabinoids have a different different properties. It's all like, they're all a team. They're holding hands together, and they're all like CBD unlocks different receptors for the THC to access to help boost pain relief. They all work together.
Now, you're a pioneer because this has never been discovered before, correct? I mean, are you learning as you go with your scientist partners?
Yeah, I guess I would say in the West, I am a pioneer. There's so much research, and there's so much research that's been coming out of Israel for decades. So, we're a little far behind, and I think that has a little bit to do with the war on drugs and reefer madness era here. In the West, I'm a little bit of a pioneer, and of course I've discovered along the way. And I do have, my business partner and I dive into research. We're always trying to discover more, and we have a lot of great relationships with other people in the industry who are also forerunners. And we work together. It's a really beautiful community, the cannabis community. I think, I'm excited to be a part of this industry more than any other industry because of the heart and the root of it being in community. Right. It's like back in the day, you'd all sit around in a circle and pass a joint around, and I think that the roots of that heart connection and that mind connection are really powerful, and I'm so proud to be able to continue to do that.
Can you market this beyond California? Can you sell it out of the state given the restrictions?
No. It's not federally legal yet, and so what is allowed in cannabis has to be made and sold only within the state of California. So to have our products outside of the state of California, we essentially have to set up a new manufacturing license and a new business in each of those states until it becomes legal.
And is there anything rivaling what you do internationally, or a parallel path of development on these on these infusions?
Yeah, I mean, I think people have seen CBD out there, a hemp-based form of CBD, and that is something that you can get globally and nationally. We're actually planning to make a Q3 launch of our hemp line, a full flower infusion of hemp, which again is different than the isolate products that you're seeing out there. And we're working hard to expand our reach. We are looking actively for partnerships in different states. We've been talking with some folks up in Canada because, of course, Canada has global distribution. We're working really hard. We get emails all the time. People reach out all the time wanting to access our products, and it's a real shame that we're limited to the state of California. However, this is the beginning of a brand new industry, and we have a lot of opportunity to create some change.
Now, with the hemp legalization nationally in America, does that favor your prospects?
Sure. Our CBD, there's different types of hemp. There's industrial hemp, there's cannabis sativa hemp, and, they have different properties. When you're making products out of industrial hemp, you're definitely using chemicals to isolate the single CBD molecule. And oftentimes, it's a byproduct in other types of processing. But you can get cannabis hemp that has full spectrum, other cannabinoids, in the same way that you could, it's just a different ratio. And that's, we use cannabis, CBD, but there are very similar strains, just depending on the ratios. It depends on what you call it. So it does put some limits on it. It does, this industry, there's, because it's a new era and they're developing new rules, there is oftentimes a lot of gray area.
Okay, well, for some folks who want to get involved or they're entrepreneurial in the cannabis world, what tips would you offer? What challenges do you face? Because there's some, as you say, the laws keep changing, the interpretation keeps changing. They're consolidating the 3 bureaus that oversee cannabis in California to have one auspices. But right now, every time you turn around, they keep changing the rules of the game.
It's really true. I see this as a long game. This is a brand new industry that was slated to be bigger than, cannabis industry is supposed to be bigger than pharmaceuticals, alcohol, tobacco, all combined. So the potential is really there. We're just at the beginning stages, and we're having regulators come into an industry that was already successfully running across the country, globally, and putting these rules on them without understanding anything about the plant or the process or the impact. If you're thinking about getting in the cannabis industry, do it. Whatever you want to do in this world, there's a way to link it to cannabis. If it's a clothing line made out of hemp, or literally anything you can think of, there's a way to link it to cannabis. And it's an opportunity that is unseen. I would say definitely have a support system. I've picked up running as a stress reliever, and just be prepared to, you got to be agile. You have to be prepared to shift your way of thinking and pivot and adjust to what's coming down the pipeline, and stay true to your mission. For me, my mission is to spread healing, and I fall back on that when I wake up and I'm is this worth it? What am I doing? What? I can't even, what? And
you're the salmon swimming upstream, aren't you?
Yeah, we all are. And I was just having this conversation with some of my colleagues tonight who have other brands, and the things that we're facing on a daily basis, it's crazy. And it's nice to know that I'm not alone. This is the industry, and the only way to quit is to quit. Right.
So the profitability, banking challenges, investment.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
This is a long game. Again, we're seeing some big giants who came in with large amounts of investment starting to fall. The industry is early. For us, it's been about staying true to our mission, having steady growth. We've been profitable every year. Accessing funding has been really hard. I think partly because we're a women-owned business, and partly because, you know, what we're doing really is like putting people over profits. And like, you know, there's
Compassionate
capitalism. Absolutely. I mean, I definitely want to make a profit. I want to be able to use the profits that we use to empower my communities and to give it back. But not on the backs of like people who are trying to heal. And I don't think it has to look that way, you know?
And how about the banking challenges? Because where do you park your money? What do you do with it when you get it? Because there are all these restrictions. You have to jump through more hoops.
It's so true. And, you know, everybody in the industry is facing banking challenges, which makes it really difficult to even collect payments that we're supposed to be getting. You know, I'm trying to find a new place to live now, and I don't have a credit history to show because I don't have the ability to have a bank account in my business. You know, like, yeah, it's definitely a challenge. I'm ready for there to be some supportive institutionalization of processes that can empower this industry. Like, we're really being held back by the lack of that support.
Well, the first banking initiative passed the House of Representatives, and now it's in the Senate. And maybe Mitch McConnell, who's been a hemp advocate, will somehow make a great leap of faith here, embrace the cannabis industry.
Yeah, you know, like it's great to leave it up to our representatives. I think we're also really, this cannabis industry is missing a real opportunity to engage and create community around these issues. I think there's a lack of awareness. Like in California, everyone's like, great, cannabis is legal, that's awesome. But they don't really understand that they can have a voice in what the tax structure looks like. They can have a voice in where those funds go. They can have a voice in helping to create the systems that will build this industry and keep it in a true healing path. And so I really encourage people to start educating themselves and start supporting local businesses and asking questions like, where is this coming from? Like, who is funding this? You know, Philip Morris already has their hands in some big names in this industry, and you know, like, we have an opportunity to do something different, and this plant is for the people, so let's get the people.
You're like the suffragette of the 21st century, Chaos. People want to contact you and learn more about Farmaceutical. How do we do that?
Yeah, you can find my website online. You can email me. It's the Farmaceuticals Company at Gmail, and that's spelled FARM because we're putting the farm back in healing.
And that's beautiful. Well said. You're doing an awesome job.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for your time.
For what you do. It's
pleasure
important.
meeting you. Awesome.
Yeah, maybe someday we'll sit around the campfire and have a little toke together, huh?
I hope so. I'll take it as an offer.
Right on.
And you're hearing us on the W420 Radio Network.
W420RadioNetwork.com.